PrimeTime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Saskatchewan is reporting 37 new cases of COVID-19. 1 case is in the Northwest Zone, which includes Lloydminster and North Battleford. 799 cases are considered active, 58 of those in our zone. 26 people are in hospital, 2 in the Northwest region. 4 people are in intensive care. 78 people have recovered. A new store is now open in the border city to bring some early holiday spirit. Connor Chan has more.
Are you guys ready? Yeah! Okay, come on in.
The Christmas feels are here at the new Thrift Miss on 50th. The store is an expansion of For the Interval store, which gives residents some cost-friendly options to help decorate or to look for gifts this holiday season. All the items in the store are picked from donations at For the Interval store.
Every single day we will have new stock coming onto the floor here at this store, and yesterday during our soft launch we already sold 2 fully decorated trees, so that's been a lot of fun. We've had essentially all hands on deck throughout the organization, friends and family helping to merchandise and style the stores.
With continued donations of Christmas items at the other location, opening a Christmas-themed store seemed like a natural fit.
We decided that we actually had enough stuff that had been donated over the last 12 months to open a new store. We thought, you know, this has really been a tough year, clearly, for everybody, and we thought that this would be a really good way to inject some cheer and some fun in a really economical way that supports our society by opening a new store.
The store itself, while selling holiday necessities, it is a testing ground for the Interval store on possible expansion in their operations for the spring. But Mullally says they're very fond on their location for this particular store.
I think that by providing another place for people to shop downtown and to build on that vibrancy that exists in parts of 50th, we really wanted to be down here.
All the money raised during this time will go back towards supporting programs and services of the Lloydminster Interval Home Society. The store will stay open until early January with extended hours in the coming weeks. Any more information can be found on For the Interval store's Facebook page. Connor Chan, PrimeTime Local News.
At Avery Outreach School, they offer a program each week designed to help start a discussion on different topics. And in this week's Beyond the Classroom, we get an in-depth look at the program. The program is called Talking Circles, and it takes place every Monday at the Lloydminster Community Youth Center. The idea for the program stems from Indigenous culture.
What we do is we bring forward subjects that are connected to Indigenous worldview, Indigenous belief systems, the Canadian Indigenous experience, looking at different types, like looking at the history, looking at the impact of the history, and I just bring forward the conversation.
Talking Circles also hosts community members each week, including members of the RCMP, Saskatchewan Health Authority, and more. They hope the tougher topics help the kids learn more about themselves and what they can do.
We're trying to invest in our youth, help them to find their own sense of power and influence, help them to see their place within themselves and within their community, really helping to show them how they are our future and help them to develop and invest in them. This is our role as people, as a community, to invest in our youth, and this is one of the ways that we do that.
For some students, this program is one of the only places available where they can speak their mind without fear.
What I like about this talking circle is like you get to have your own opinion on things and nobody's like judging. It's like a safe place to do everything, you know? And like when I'm at home, I don't really have that place, you know, only with like my brother, but we live like a few hours away, so I don't ever really get to speak to him. So this is like my kind of place to get everything out if I need to.
It also gives them the chance to learn more about the topics and build a relationship with classmates.
I learned a lot that that our voice does matter, like that we should have a choice on that, like our own voice on what we should say, our own opinions on everything, and just that like everyone matters and everyone's opinions matters too.
I also like that I gained a lot more friendships this way as well, so that's also really cool.
And that's it for this week's Beyond the Classroom.
You have goals, and Lakeland College can help you achieve them. Visit lakelandcollege.ca or email hello@lakelandcollege.ca.
Every November, men across Canada grow mustaches to raise awareness and money to support men's health issues. Jace Mackey spoke with Evan Kenny about the importance of the campaign and how people can take part.
November is a big month. Remembrance Day happens in November, but the past few years, something that's really been picking up steam and becoming bigger and bigger is Movember. And here to talk with me a little bit about Movember is Evan Kenny, our sports reporter. Evan, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Jace. This is awesome cause, and it's nice to see, it's this time of year, and awareness is being brought up once again.
So first of all, for the Movember campaign, what are some ways that people can support it?
Well, Jace, I guess first and foremost is the way that most people know, which is trying to grow a mustache. Even if you're someone like me who really can't grow too much facial hair, there is always that option. And then as well, there's a couple other ways that you can support as well. There's the Movement, which is basically Movember is trying to get people out and moving 60 kilometers over the month. And that is because 60 men die every hour due to suicide. So Movember's trying to address that. And then you can also host a moment, which is basically just an organization of people just bringing awareness and raising some money. And then obviously donating to the cause to, whether, a friend, a family member, whoever it may be, who is signed up and participating in Movember.
So obviously Movember has been kind of increasing in the past few years, and different causes have been kind of wrapped up into it. So what is the campaign trying to raise awareness for?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, most people know it for prostate cancer in men, obviously affecting a lot of men. 9.9 million people have either lived through or are currently living with prostate cancer, and 1.3 million are diagnosed each year. So that's sort of how Movember really started up. But then it started to pick up some other causes as well, one being testicular cancer, which is the most common cancer in men from ages 15 to 39. So obviously a huge one that, Movember, the people who started Movember really want to start giving some awareness to that, obviously, as it is taking too many men's lives too young. And then finally, and sort of the most prevalent one as of late, has been the mental health and suicide awareness side of things. 3 out of 4 suicides in the world are men. And as I mentioned, 60 men die due to suicide around the world per hour. So that's obviously a huge one as of late. And, they're really just trying to get that word out, get people talking about it, get it familiar, rather than being this sort of taboo subject that's pushed off to the side, especially with men.
Yeah, and mental health is a big thing that's really kind of coming to the forefront, especially for men to kind of talk about it. It's okay not to be okay. So why do you think it's so important for men to really get out there and to talk about, men's health and get that in the spotlight?
Well, Jason, you mentioned it, when you said it's okay not to be okay, that's a lot of thing that I find, men specifically do not talk about. People want to be that manly man who's, everything's fine. It's almost like water off a duck's back, but that's not the way it should be. People should be talking about this, bringing awareness to this, because you never know. It could be a brother, it could be a father, it could be, a friend who is in this, possibly dark place, needs to talk to somebody. So it's really just getting that awareness out. And it doesn't just affect men. Like I said, a father, a brother, a friend, whoever it may be, it doesn't, just affect men. It affects the people around you who, other people care about.
All right. Well, Evan, thanks for taking some time to talk with me. Obviously, you're taking part in Movember this year, and people at home are able to either take part or donate, and they can do so by going to the Movember website, movember.com. Thanks again, Evan.
Thank you, Jace.
Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. Looking at temperatures right now, 7 degrees is what we're still sitting at right now. So we also see 7 degrees out in Edmonton and Edson. We see double-digit temperatures in areas like Red Deer and Rocky Mountain House sitting at 11 and 10 degrees. 6 out in Whitecourt and Jasper. 3 up in Meadow Lake and in Cold Lake right now. 10 in North Battleford and Prince Albert. 9 in Saskatoon and 8 degrees in Melfort. As we look up north, a little bit colder than yesterday. -4 in La Loche and Buffalo Narrows. We see Uranium City and Stony Rapids. Those areas way up north sitting in the minus in double digits at -13 and -12. We also see -7 in Wollaston Lake and then -2 for South End and then 4 degrees up in Flin Flon. -11 in Fort Chipewyan with -10 in High Level. -6 in Fort McMurray and then -7 in Peace River. -1 for Slave Lake and then -3 in Grand Prairie. Now, of course, Southern Alberta, that's going to be the talk over the next couple of days because there is the possibility, there is not the possibility, there will be expected blizzard-like conditions in Southern Alberta and Saskatchewan where they could see maybe up to 20 centimeters of snow in some areas, and we see Calgary is one of those places that's going to get affected. There are Kindersley, Swift Current, as well as Estevan are going to be affected by those snowfall warnings and blizzard warnings as well. 14 in Medicine Hat, though, for right now. 16 in Lethbridge, 7 down in Banff, 9 in Coronation, and 11 in Kindersley, Swift Current, and in Moose Jaw as well. Estevan sitting at 16 degrees right now with 12 degrees in Regina, and then 10 degrees in Yorkton. Now, as we look across the rest of the country, a little all over the place there. Winnipeg sitting at 13 right now. Toronto at 17 degrees right now. 0 in Quebec City. St. John sitting at -3 right now, while -1 in Halifax with some cloud coverage. 15 degrees there in Vancouver with some rain showers there. -15 in Yellowknife, and then we see -17 up in Whitehorse. Now, here's what we could see for tomorrow. Another warm day, probably the last one we'll see for a very, very long time. 10 degrees as our expected daytime high, and 11 degrees out in Vermilion, Vegreville for tomorrow. 9 in St. Paul, 8 in Bonnyville, and then we see 7 in Cold Lake with 15 in Macklin, 13 out in North Battleford for tomorrow, as well as we see 13 in Provost. We'll see 10 in St. Walburg for tomorrow and 5 up in Green Lake. So here's a look at what we could see over the next 7 days. 2 degrees on Friday, and then it goes into -2 on Saturday. The snow could start later in the Friday evening going into early Saturday morning there, so we could see lots of snowfall there on Saturday throughout the day, as well as on Sunday where it's going to be -7, and then of course we go back to some pretty cold temperatures on Monday at -9, below there of -14, -4 expected there for Tuesday, and -9 expected for Wednesday with a little bit of sun on both those days, and there is possibility of some very hazardous road conditions as well on Sunday as well expected. But that is a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Joined today with Tyler McMurtry from SGI. We're talking today about November's traffic safety spotlight on suspended drivers and unregistered vehicles. Thanks for taking some time to talk to me today, Tyler.
Always great to talk to you, Jace.
So first of all, let's focus on the first half of that, and that is suspended driving. So on a typical year, there'll be about 3,500 drivers who are caught with suspended licenses. Can you just talk a little bit about suspended driving with suspended licenses?
Yeah, our message this month is very simple to drivers. If you have a suspended license or don't have a driver's license whatsoever, don't drive. You're not allowed to. Unfortunately, while we know that many drivers do abide by the terms of their suspension, others do not, and police do catch, as you mentioned, on average around 3,500 drivers every year driving while suspended. The problem with that is not only is it against the law, it's a traffic safety concern because in many cases those suspensions were a result of unsafe driving practices.
So when we look at the next one, it's driving when your vehicle is unregistered. Can you just talk a little bit about the problems with that and honestly some of the consequences as well?
Right, that's another bad idea because motorists driving an unregistered vehicle don't have insurance. So if you're involved in a collision that you are responsible for, you don't have insurance coverage, and you may be held responsible for the thousands of dollars, potentially tens of thousands of dollars that can result from a collision that you were responsible for. That's a real good reason to not drive with plates that are expired or plates that are not valid in some way. You just don't have insurance coverage, which is also the case when you're driving with a suspended license. That also invalidates your insurance coverage as well. The other thing when it comes to driving with a plates that are expired it's a pretty significant fine. It's $580.
And obviously, police this month are taking a focus on these things. What kind of tools are they going to be able to use to make sure that they're catching drivers who are driving with suspended licenses or without registration?
Really glad you asked me, because one of the ways that police are able to catch so many drivers who are driving with expired plates, or drivers who are driving with suspended licenses, is through the use of automated license plate readers. So these are scanners that sit on the top of the roof of law enforcement vehicles. And in Saskatchewan, there are nearly 180 of them on law enforcement vehicles. That includes police officers, also conservation officers and Saskatchewan Highway Patrol. So there's these amazing devices that are throughout the province, and they can scan dozens of license plates per minute, and they will flag to the officer in that vehicle whether a vehicle that they've scanned, the plates that they've scanned, whether those plates are expired or whether those plates are associated with a driver who is suspended in some way. The ALPRs can also be used for other finding other people as well, like if there's an Amber Alert, for example, or a vehicle that has been reported as stolen. The ALPRs can pick those up as well.
So for people at home who are thinking, oh, I don't have registration or my vehicle, or I don't have I have a suspended license, what are some ways that people in Saskatchewan can go about rectifying those issues?
Yeah, absolutely. There's many ways that you can just call your local motor license issuer and go into them and make an appointment. You're also able to do automatic renewals via mysgi.ca. You can also renew your license that way as well. So it's just really important that if you think that your plates are about to expire, or your license is about to expire, or you're suspended in some way, do not risk it. Don't get behind the wheel until you've taken care of that, and until you are legally allowed to drive, and you make sure that you have the insurance that will protect you in the event of something unfortunate happening.
And when people think about traffic safety, a lot of times they're thinking about seatbelts or not distracted driving or not driving impaired. So why is it so important to focus on things like suspended drivers or driving without registration?
Well, particularly when we're talking about driving with a suspended license, people don't get their license suspended for no reason. In many cases, it's the result of a traffic safety issue. Maybe it's an impaired driving conviction or an impaired driving charge that has yet to be resolved. In other cases, it might be a medical issue where you've been told by a medical professional, you shouldn't get behind the wheel while you're dealing with this particular medical issue. Sometimes those suspensions are temporary, and sometimes they are longer term. But for whatever reason, if you've been suspended, you have been told, don't drive. And if you do decide to get behind the wheel and you're caught doing it, it's a pretty significant issue. And that's why you won't just get a fine and be sent on your way. You'll actually have to go to court as a result. And if you do it repeatedly, or if you do it even once, actually, you will get your vehicle impounded for many types of suspensions as well. If you're caught driving them, if you're caught driving while suspended, your vehicle will get impounded right there at roadside.
And just before we go, on Friday, SGI launched and began an ad campaign. Can you just tell me a little bit about what the ad campaign is focused on, and what people will be seeing on air and in the newspapers and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. We are once again, bringing some awareness to the issue of distracted driving, and so we've launched a very powerful ad campaign that will be running province-wide, online, on television. There'll be radio ads and as well as newspaper ads. And the message behind this ad is, keep your focus on the road ahead because everything else can wait, and really focusing on people who text while drive. And so the kind of the centerpiece of this campaign is a 60-second commercial that shows. It opens with the aftermath of a collision, a fatal collision, with emergency responders on the scene, and you see a phone going off because somebody waiting at home for that victim is waiting for them and is texting them and calling, wondering why they haven't come yet. And then it transitions to the widow, the grieving widow of the victim, and their baby, and another relative who are mourning the loss of somebody who was texting while driving. And the message we're trying to get across here is, when you're driving, just drive. You don't want to text, you don't want to call, you don't want to scroll or post or snap. Just concentrate on the safe operation of that motor vehicle. And It's a very powerful campaign. I think it will definitely affect a lot of people. It's one of those things that, the first few times you watch it, it does hit you right in the heart.
All right, well, thanks for taking some time to talk with me, Tyler McMurtry from SGI. It's always great to get some insight and some safe driving tips from you.
Thanks, Chase.
I'm joined today by Kim Herperger from the Saskatchewan Blue Cross. Kim, thank you so much for joining me today. And the Blue Cross is about to celebrate its 10th year of the Go Out and Play Challenge. Can you tell me a little bit about the Go Out and Play Challenge itself?
The Saskatchewan Blue Cross Go Out and Play Challenge is really designed to help communities see the important role that they play when it comes to getting kids and families out to play. And so the winning community gets $10,000 for a project that gets kids and families out to play, and the runner-up receives $5,000.
And so obviously trying to get kids out to play, just what does it take, obviously what qualifies as activity and how can people sign up and join in this?
Well, anything that gets you moving counts as activity, whether that's walking, going to the gym, raking the leaves. Sounds like we're going to have some snow to shovel this weekend, so that, if it's still around in March, that will count. So anything that gets your legs moving and your heart pumping.
And now obviously this year is going to be a little different with COVID, and you guys have also added some new prizes as well. Can you just tell me about the changes you guys have had to go as you enter your 10th year?
Sure. Well, some of the changes we've made, as you mentioned, is just to help us celebrate our 10th anniversary, which we're pretty excited about. We would love to be marking the occasion by being out in communities. That's really where we love to spend our time. But since we can't do that right now, we've added some 10th anniversary bonus prizes that will help bring some in-motion spirit to more communities. We've added a 10th anniversary bonus prize. So communities that finish in 3rd to 12th place will receive a $500 stencil package for their playground. And we've introduced online registration this year for the first time, and that's going to make it easier for communities to get their hometown signed up. And we do have another thing or two up our sleeves as well.
Well, looking forward to that. And you just brought up the online registration. How do communities sign up and join in on this?
They can visit challenge.saskatchewaninmotion.ca, and you'll see all of the rules and detailed information there. But basically, you need to pick a project that's going to get kids and families out to play. Fill out the online registration form, and you can visit to see the types of information it needs. Once your community is registered, in February, we will allow families and individuals to create profiles online. When March 1st comes, you start logging your physical activity every day towards your community's tally, and the community that moved most wins.
And the great thing about this challenge is I would say there's kind of a level playing field when it comes to the bigger and smaller communities, right?
That small communities shouldn't be afraid to enter the contest. A lot of times they look at it and think that they might not be able to compete. But if you look historically at who has won, Assiniboia last year is not a huge community, Pilot Butte the year before. We're not talking about the largest communities winning, and I think the reason for that is that small towns have that special community spirit, and it's really easy for them to rally the whole community. So it's open to communities of all sizes, and the possibilities are always there for a community of any size to win.
All right, Kim, really appreciate you taking the time here today, and best of luck in the 10th year of your Go Out and Play Challenge.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. 10 degrees for tomorrow. It's going to be one of the last days we'll see some nice temperatures. We'll have 2 degrees on Friday, and then probably Friday night we'll start to see all that snow start to come in. There are snowfall warnings in place right now in southern Alberta and Saskatchewan. we will be getting some snow ourselves here in around Lloydminster area. We could get maybe past the 10-centimeter mark with lots of winds expected there, close to maybe over 80 kilometers an hour there. -7 on Sunday, -9 on Monday, and then -4 on Tuesday with -9 on Wednesday as we're starting to get back to double-digit minus temperatures for the morning.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.